Greetings and salutations. This is Comic Book Hangover. My name is Scott, and here we are with being halfway through the month of July. Here we go with the movies that I watched in the first half. Now, have decided to sort of evolve these videos a little bit further. So now instead of having doing like the entire month at the end, I'm going to start breaking them up. And, so I'll do the first half of the month, and then at the end, I'll do the second half of the month, and we'll be posting these videos accordingly. So instead of having a whole bunch all at once, they'll spread them out a little bit more throughout the month, which I think would be much, much better for the channel here. So let's just jump into the movies that I watched for the first half of the month of July, starting with, and you're going to hear me say this an awful lot because I say this a lot. One of my favorite movies of all time, and that is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Love this movie. There's no one. I've owned it on VHS. I've owned it on DVD. Here's a Blu-ray copy of it. The Blu-ray even comes with, I got to do something with this, comes with a replica of the poster. And I'd rather get a full-sized replica of the poster, sort of like my Evil Dead one here. But there you go. There is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Now, there's a new one coming out supposedly around Christmas time, and I'm very much looking forward to my son and I going to a theater and saying 2 tickets for Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. It's just one of those things I never ever thought I'd be able to say, but I'm so happy I am. Moving on, one of my favorite animated movies, Spirited Away. I'm sure there's a lot of people's favorite animated movie, or one of. Just a great movie all the way around. So that's it. There you go. So on July 3rd, I picked a movie in particular because again, like I said, for some of last month's movies, there's a lot of stuff going on in the news. And one of the things that was going on around the 4th of July was this whole silly notion of let's ban the 4th of July, or let's boycott the 4th of July. It's just not do the 4th of July. So I dug up this one, great little movie from my collection called An American Carol. Now this one has, it's from David Zucker, one of the director and one of the minds behind movies like The Naked Gun and Airplane. I'm talking about the original Naked Gun, the good one, not the sad Temu imitation that's coming up here. I think in August. But this one here, there's Kevin Farley plays a character that's sort of a takeoff of Michael Moore. And he is, he's a far left. He's a total parody of the far left mindset of Michael Moore, and he wants to ban the 4th of July. So he gets visited by various spirits to show him the importance of the 4th of July, the importance of America, the importance of loving and respecting this country for what it is. Yes, there's warts. Yes, we've made mistakes, but very few countries have owned up to and fixed the mistakes that we have made in our country's history. But this is a great movie. It's got an amazing cast too. I mean, you've got Kelsey Grammer, Leslie Nielsen, Trace Adkins, Dennis Hopper, James Woods, David Ellinger. I mean, it's a great collection. And even I was even surprised that like Dennis Hopper, he was a far leftist, not an insane leftist like Rosie O'Donnell, but he was a leftist, and it was kind of cool that he was willing to be a part of this movie, which shows, and that's the sort of stuff that I can respect. That he was able to sort of poke fun at the fringe of his ideology. Not saying that that's how he was, but that's he was willing to be a part of that and had a lot of fun with it. But great movie, a lot of fun. Now on the 4th of July, of course, every year I only watch one movie on the 4th of July, and that is ID4, also known as Independence Day. So there you go. That's pretty much what you can say about that. Next one, dug up my Sharknado Steelbook collection for Sharknado 2, the second one. Great one. I loved all the Sharknado movies, but there we go. There's Sharknado 2. Now this next one, we went to a yard sale, and they were selling movies for like $1 each or something like that. And so we went there, and I'm picking up all these movies. There's a lot of music, a lot of concerts, a lot of music video collections, a lot of comedies that I really wanted. I didn't have on Blu-ray. I don't have on DVD. So we're just going to check, we're just going to start getting all these. The lady who was holding the yard sale was a friend of my wife. They knew each other, and she saw the stack that I was getting, and she's like, I'll tell you what, $40, you can have all these movies. Well, you can throw on the totes at their end. So we ended up with four regular sized totes and a long sized tote full of films for just like $40. So we have, I think I added about, out of all those, maybe about 100 movies to our collection. And this was one that I definitely was going to keep in the collection because it's a movie that's near impossible to find on its own. I'm happy to have it on here. I actually wound up watching both these. So I watched, first one I watched was PCU, and then I watched Airheads. I know we had Airheads. We do have that one on an individual DVD. So we're going to be unloading that one because I don't need to have that one if I had this one. But PCU is one of those movies that I've been wanting for a long time, but it's hard to get. And when you can find it, so a lot of times there's either something wrong with it or it's expensive. But I have them both on here. So PCU and Airheads were the next two movies that I watched. And then, kind of sticking with sort of going back a little bit and doing more classic movies, we had 48 Hours with Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy. Good stuff there. I actually had the sequel to it as well, so I'll probably be watching that soon. And this is another one of those movies that came out of that huge collection of DVDs and Blu-rays that we picked up. This one stars Marlon Wayans and David Spade. This is Senseless, where Marlon Wayans is trying to he's the guy that comes from poor, and he's trying to do his best. He wants to do right for not only for himself, but he wants to be a success so he could take care of his mom. He could take care of his brothers and sisters, get him into a nice house, get him into a nice neighborhood. Of course, David Spade, he usually plays the sleazy slimeball characters. They're rich, better than you, jackass character. So they're both trying to go for a scholarship. Hilarity ensues, especially once Marlon Wayans starts taking part of a drug test. So you gotta love it. And speaking of drugs, Cocaine Bear, because it's Cocaine Bear, and this is another one of my son's favorite movies. Excuse me, got some allergy stuff going on here. The next one is another one. Last month I mentioned how I was able to get my Puppet Master series, and I got Puppet Master series for subscribing to the Full Moon streaming service. And the second time I did it, I picked out some movies. One of the movies I picked out was this one here because I figured the kids would like it as well, Prehysteria. And I had totally forgotten that Prehysteria and Prehysteria 2 are basically filmed back to back, and they just cut in the middle, made two movies out of it. But I only had the first one. Good movie. It's a lot of fun. Still holds up for the low budget joy that it is. And speaking of low budget, speaking of a movie that I have not seen this one since VHS days. I used to own it on VHS, and somewhere around here, it might even be in storage, I have the original movie poster for it as well. And that is a little movie called I, Madman. Psychological thriller horror film about a girl who likes reading horror novels. And this one horror novel for this Malcolm Brand, his story sort of blurs the line between fantasy and reality, and she gets caught up in all this. But it's a great little movie. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much because it's been well over 20 years since I'd seen this movie, probably like 30 years since I'd seen it. And usually a lot of times you start building up the nostalgic memory of a movie like this, and you remember it as being better than what it was. I remembered it exactly as how it was, and I enjoyed it. This one also has a slipcase for it. Again, I'll keep it, but you know what? If somebody offers me money for the slipcase, that slipcase is gone because I really have no use for it. And almost done here. Got a few more to go for the first half of July. Of course, my son picked out, he wanted to check out Pixels, which is a great movie. A lot of fun. One I wish did better in the theaters, but also one that I think is good as a one and done movie. Not every movie needs a sequel, and I think Pixels is one of them. Plus, there's also a chance to see Max Headroom in a movie. It's great. I love it. And one that I had in my collection for quite a while now. I picked this one up when Family Video was closing down. This is one of the movies that had always been in our. I think this was in our 2 for $1 section. And I'm a fan of Gilda Radner. I'm a fan of Gene Wilder. So I picked up Hanky Panky and hadn't watched it at all since I bought it at Family Video. And we've been closed since 21, 22 is when we closed. And I finally watched it. A lot of fun. Great movie. So much fun. And the last one that I watched actually last night is the Batman The Dark Knight Returns. I had the deluxe edition This one, if I remember right, was originally released as a part one and a part two. And then they did this where they just took them and put them together and made one long ass 2 hour plus movie. And I sat and watched the whole thing last night. It's a lot of fun. I never read the book that it adapts, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Just really, really interesting, fun stuff. But there you go. Those are the movies that I watched in the first half of this month of July. And so we will see you early August for the movies that I watched in the second half of July. See you guys later. Bye.